In this video, we will be studying HTML formatting and then HTML attributes. Now, what is the meaning of the word formatting? So, formatting basically means changing the appearance of the text. So, in HTML, there are several elements which are used to change the appearance of the text. So, here there is a table in which all the elements are there which change the appearance of the text. Okay. Now, over here, all these elements will work in HTML4 as well as HTML5 except the element mark. This mark element will work only in HTML5. Now, to understand these elements, I have a program over here. So, this is my Atom editor. I will be giving you all these programs. Now, amongst these programs, there is this program called formatting.html, which I'll start with. And now I will execute this program. So, in the earlier video, I had shown you that you can have a package called HTML preview. Okay. Now, what I can do is I can enable preview from here also. See, now I'll right click on this. And when I right click on this, it will say preview HTML. I click on this. So now I see the output of this program. Now let's go through the usual stuff. So this is the doc type declaration, which means that this is HTML5 program. Then this is the head of the program. All right. So here the title is HTML formatting, and the body starts over here in line number 7 and ends in line number 29. Okay. Now everything which you see over here is enclosed in a paragraph element. So see carefully, the paragraph element starts in line number 8 and ends in line number 28. So everything which is there inside a body is actually a paragraph. Now what I want is that you pause the video and go through everything from line number 8, okay, till line number 11. And while going through these lines, you should see the corresponding output also. And after I start the video again, you should be able to tell me that which all HTML elements did you see here. Okay, so pause the video and do that. Okay, so over here in line number 8, you see one HTML element called the bold element, or I will say the B tag. Okay. Now, if you see the corresponding output over here, look at a mouse pointer. It is quite obvious that when you write something in the B tag, that thing becomes bold. So, this is the result of this. Alright. So, basically, it is the same thing, bold. Now, what is surprising over here is that if you want to make text bold, there is one more HTML element, and that HTML element is the strong element, which starts from here till here. And if you see its output, you will realize its output also comes in bold. So see, this is the output of the strong element. Now if you really understood this, then you must be wondering, why do we have two HTML elements for doing the same work? So here is the answer. Listen to this carefully. See, what happens is that there are some softwares called screen readers, okay? And these screen readers, basically their work is to read the content which is there on the screen. Now there are some websites which are, I will say, which are friendlier to people who are visually impaired. So people who cannot see, okay. So there are some websites which are friendlier to such people. Now when I say friendlier, what do I mean? So I mean that you can use the screen reader softwares for such websites, and the screen reader will read the content of the website for such people. Now what happens over here is that if you want a text to appear in bold, you can use the B tag, you can use the strong tag, anything will do. But what will happen is that when the screen reader reads your website, when it comes across the strong tag, what it will do is, while reading the contents of the strong tag, it will lay an emphasis on the content. So while reading this part, strong looks like this part, okay, this will be read by the screen reader with little bit of emphasis like this, strong looks like, something like that, okay. Whereas the screen reader will simply ignore the B tag. So over here the word bold will not be read with emphasis. So For a person who can see things, there is no difference between the B tag and the strong tag. Okay, but for visually impaired people, what will happen is the screen reader will read the contents of the strong tag with an emphasis, with a stress on it. Alright. Now the same concept is applicable to this I tag, okay, and this EM tag. Now very quickly see the corresponding output. So you will see over here that whether you use the I tag or whether you use the emphasis tag, what will happen is the corresponding content will be given in italics. But once again the same thing. When the screen reader will read the content of the I tag, it will simply ignore everything. That means when I say ignore, I mean it will read it but not with an emphasis. And when it reads the content of EM tag, it will read it with emphasis. That means it will lay a stress on it. Over here, EM stands for emphasis. I hope you understood this. If you did not understand, it's okay, no problem. Just remember that B and strong do the same work, I and EM do the same work. Okay. Now there is something interesting over here. Now go through this much part and its corresponding output. If you want, you can pause the video. Come on, do that. Now did you notice something very peculiar over here? Of course you did. See over here what I did is I purposely gave some space over here. Then I gave a new line over here so that the word saw came on the next line, collapsing came on the next line. Okay. But what happens is when you see this content in the output, see carefully, everything comes one after another on the same line. Not only it comes in one line, but see carefully, there is no extra space anywhere. Okay. So what happens is, as I told you, this is the code which a browser will receive from the server. Now when the browser receives this code from the server, what the browser will do is it will simply ignore all the white spaces. I hope you know the meaning of the word white space. White space means a blank space or a tab or a new line character. So everything will be ignored by the browser and it will display everything one after another. And this phenomenon is called white space collapsing. So white space collapsing means that a browser ignores all the white spaces. Okay. Now after that I have given this BR slash. Be attentive. Now what this BR stands for? This BR stands for line break. Now you will tell me what is line break? So line break is nothing but /n of C language or Java or Python. So basically the BR element leaves a line and that is why you see this empty space, and that is why after collapsing this let's draw a line below this, it comes on the next line. If you don't understand this, no problem. What I'll do is I'll delete it and I'll show you. Okay. So one minute, just a minute. Okay. So look, now I will cut this. Okay. And see what happened over here. See this let's draw a line below this. It came immediately after collapsing. If you did not notice, I will put this BR once again over here and you should keep an eye over here on the output. Always follow the mouse pointer. So see, I'll put the BR again and see what happened in the output. Let's draw a line came on the next line. Okay. So please understand one thing, that this text, it did not come on the next line by itself. It came on the next line because we gave this BR element. Now once again, do you notice something important different about this BR element? If you see carefully, you will realize it does not have two tags. It has only a single tag. By the way, elements like BR are called empty elements. What they are called? Empty elements. EMPTY. Empty elements. Sometimes they are also called self-closing tags. So empty elements are those elements in which you will have only the starting tag and not the ending tag. Okay. Now in earlier versions of HTML, an empty element was compulsorily, the rule was that you should write the empty element compulsorily this way. This way means you will write BR, you will give a space over here and then you will give a backslash. but sorry, a forward slash, okay, br space and then a forward slash. But as per HTML5, you can write the br tag this way also. So what way? See carefully what I am doing. I can write it this way also, and that does not make any difference. As you see over here, the output, the web page is same. Okay, so you write it this way or you write it this way, it's one and the same. Okay, all right. Now this is a text which says let's draw a line, and after this you have HR. Now I'll tell you what is HR, but did you realize something about HR? See, the HR is also an empty element like BR. So I could have written HR like this also. It does not make a difference. All right. Now HR stands for horizontal rules. I repeat, it stands for horizontal rules. You will tell me what is this horizontal rules? Very simple. So when you give HR, it will draw a line. So see over here, you see a line because of HR. Let me delete this and let's see what will happen. So I delete it and the line is gone. I put it back and see the line appears again. Okay. By the way, this is the advantage of using this package HTML preview. Okay, you get to see the output right there in front of yourself. You don't need to, change the windows and all. That's a little cumbersome. Anyway, moving further. Now, what I want you to do is, I want you to go through this much part and see the corresponding output over here. Come on, it's pretty simple, very simple. Okay, so this element is called superscript, and you know what it does. It will make 2 as the superscript. Similarly, I will not say similarly, the opposite of it is subscript. So see, 2 over here has become a subscript. Okay. After that, you have an element called delete element, or I will say that del element. So what do you think the del element did over here? So the del element will put a cross line across the word. Okay. So I have written deleted inside the del element, and that's why you see a line over here. Now whenever you go to e-commerce website, very often they will show you the old price, then they will cross the old price and they will show you the new price. So that is done using this del element. Okay. Then you have another element called insert element. Look at its output, and what do you notice in the output? So if you paid attention, you will realize that what the insert element will do is it will underline its content. So see this and which you see over here, it is underlined over here. Now one simple thing over here, the insert element will actually do the work of underlining. But what this insert element means, it means that this content is newly inserted in the web page. So for some damn reason, okay, let's not talk about the reason, but let's say for some damn reason, you want to convey your users that this thing is just inserted in the web page. It is a new thing. So what you can do is you can write that thing within the insert element, and the insert element will underline it. Or you can just use the insert element for the sake of underlining. It's whatever you wish. Then have a look at the next element over here, which is called mark element. It is quite obvious that a mark element will do the work of highlighting. So this yellow highlighting is done by the mark element. Then you have the small element, which will display the text in a very small font, showing that this is not significant. Okay. Then the HR element, which has drawn the line. Now pay good attention to this thing. This is little tricky. Okay, be attentive. Now the next element over here is called the pre element, and pre over here stands for pre-formatted text. I repeat, pre-formatted text. Now go through this much, go through this output and tell me what is different over here. Come on, pause the video, do that. So what did you notice? So you must have seen that there is no white space collapsing over here. See, what I did is I gave some space over here, I gave some space over here, then I gave formatted on the next line, okay, and this thing is maintained over here. See, there is space, see there is space, formatted is on the next line, okay, there is space over here. So the thing is that if I give all these things as it is, if I give all these things without the pre-element, then you know that white space collapsing will take place, okay, which we studied over here. So if you want to maintain the format as it is, then you should give it inside a pre-element. Pre stands for pre-formatted text, okay. All right. Now the last thing to be understood over here is the concept of escape characters. So for that, let me do one thing. I'll do one change in this program for your better understanding. So I'll remove this line number 27. Okay. So I have deleted line number 27. So there's nothing now over here. Okay. Now let's say I want to display this. Okay. What I want to display is, see carefully what I'm writing. Less than symbol, greater than symbol, and HR. All right. Now this is what I want to display in my output. Okay. Now have a look at the corresponding output over here. Now what happened is that because I wrote HR over here, a line was drawn. If you're not convinced, let me remove it. See, I remove it and see the line is gone. I put it back, okay, and the line came again. So now understand the problem over here. My intention over here was not to draw the line. My intention over here is to display HR as it is over here. Okay, the way you see it over here, I want to display it same way over here on the web page. So now the problem is this is not possible right now. Why? Because when the web browser will come across line number 27, the web browser will treat it as a tag. It will treat it as HR tag and will display the corresponding line. So now what do I do over here? So now I will take help of escape characters over here. So basically escape characters over here are those characters which will help me in such situation. So for example, if I want to display less than symbol, I repeat, if I want to display less than symbol, I will not give the less than symbol as it is over here. I will give ampersand LT semicolon. For greater than symbol, ampersand GT semicolon. So see, now what I'll do is, I will over here, I'll write ampersand LT semicolon. Okay, then I'll give ampersand GT semicolon. And now look at the corresponding output over here. Now line number 27 is not drawing a line, it is displaying HR in angular brackets. So what happens over here is that when the web browser looks at this thing, ampersand LT semicolon, it will come to know that it is supposed to display less than symbol. LT stands for less than. So ampersand GT semicolon will display greater than symbol. GT stands for greater than. So such characters are called escape characters. Okay. All right. So we came across all the formatting elements. Now finally, let's see how to write a comment in HTML. Surprisingly, writing a comment in HTML is not as simple as C or Java. So if you want to write a comment in HTML, this is the syntax. You give less than symbol, exclamation and 2 hyphens. Then you write the comment. The comment can take as many lines as you want. And you end the comment with 2 hyphens and greater than symbol. Okay, quite complicated, I must say. Very often even I forget this syntax. So this is the way in which we write comments in HTML. And don't forget one thing, over here we have used this mark element. This mark element is a special syntax, special element of HTML5. It was not there in HTML4. So that's why this program must be compulsorily HTML5 document. So this was HTML formatting. Now let's go to HTML attributes. So if I want to go to HTML attributes, first let me close this, and for the sake of simplicity I close this also. Now what are HTML attributes? So basically attributes will contain some special data, and this special data will be given in the opening tag of the HTML element. So in these notes, I have given the topic of HTML attributes. So over here, have a look at this particular line. Have a look at this particular line and tell me this is which element. So this is the paragraph element. Now over here, as usual, this is the closing tag. This is the content which we are giving. By the way, whatever we give between the opening tag and closing tag is the one which gets displayed. So over here, this is what will this is the thing which will get displayed. This is the paragraph. And now this thing which you see, title equal to I am a tool tip, this is called HTML attribute. So basically the attributes are those things which provide some additional information about an element. Now what happens is every attribute is a name value pair. I repeat, every attribute is a name value pair. So this is the name and this is its value, and the value is normally given in double quotes. Okay. Now to understand this further, let's do a small program over here. So I will open the program attributes.html. Alright. Now most of the things over here are known to you. Come on, tell me, where do you see the attribute over here? So this is the attribute, the title attribute. Okay. Now what will this title attribute will do? So to understand this, let's execute this program. So I go to preview HTML. Alright. And I just reduce this size. Okay. Now see what is going to happen over here. Now I'll take my mouse pointer and I will hover it on this internet programming. Okay. So see what is going to happen. Did you notice something? Now this thing which you see, subject of SEM5, okay, sometimes it is called tool tip. I repeat, sometimes it is called tool tip. And if you want to see this tool tip, you should use the title element. So whatever you write over here, okay, it will come as a tool tip when somebody hovers on that element. I hope this was simple. Now there are many HTML attributes, and these attributes we'll learn as in when we go ahead. But right now there are two attributes which I want you to know right away. Okay, the details which we'll see later on. So let me give a paragraph tag over here. So I write P and I hit the enter key. Okay. Now in this paragraph tag, I can write one attribute called ID. Now see the beauty of Atom. The moment I hit a space over here, it will show all the attributes which I can give over here. So see, I'll click on this ID. Okay, so I can write ID is equal to ABC. So this ID is basically a unique identification. I will say it is a unique identification for this particular paragraph. Right now, this ID serves no purpose. It will serve the purpose when we use CSS. Okay. So let's not discuss more about this ID right now. Just remember this that is ID is required when we do CSS. Now similar to ID, there is one more attribute over here, very important, which we'll study in detail later on, and that is the class attribute. So I hit the space and see again it shows me this class attribute. So again I could have given over a class equal to XYZ. Okay. So these are two important attributes which we are going to use very often. So once again remember, attributes are basically those things which provide additional information about HTML element, and attributes are always given in the opening tag. Now after HTML attributes, let's study something called HTML fonts. Okay, this topic is very highly unimportant. Yes, you heard it right, unimportant. Now why unimportant? Because as I told you, if you remember, if you want to style your web page, for styling the web page we use CSS, cascading style sheet. Okay, so if you want to work with different fonts, what you can do is you can use CSS. But before CSS was invented, in HTML itself there is an element called font element which was used to work with several fonts. Now although this is not important, but this could be there in your university syllabus. So let's see a small program on HTML fonts. Okay. Now what I want is, I want you to go through this program and then we'll see its output. Come on, do that. Especially go through line number 9, 11 and 13. Come on. So in line number 9, 11, 13, basically the same thing is being displayed, and that same thing is this testing fonts. Okay, but there is a difference. Over here what I am doing is, see carefully, I am starting a paragraph tag in line number 8 ending it in 15. So this entire thing is a paragraph. But what I am doing is I am putting line number 9, 11 and 13 within a font element. Okay, so see carefully, there is a font element over here. This font element is not used very frequently because now we do this font styling using CSS. Now, see, this is the opening tag of the font element. See carefully. Alright, and this is the closing tag. Okay. Now, within the opening tag of the font element, we are given 3 attributes. Come on, which 3 you tell me? Face, color, and size. Now, over here, what is this face? So, very simple. This face is the name of the font which you want to use. Color is the color of the font and size is the size of the font. Okay. Moreover, if you see this particular statement, statement number 11 and even 13. So when you compare 9, 11 and 13, do you notice something different over here? Come on. It may not strike you immediately, but see carefully. You will realize that the attributes can be given in any order. The order does not matter over here. For example, in line number 11, I have given size first and then color. In line number 13, I have first given size, then color, and in the end, face. So that does not matter. The face will basically decide the type of the font. Size will decide its size and the color will decide its color. Now, let's see the output. Okay, pretty obvious. See, this is the output. I don't think this needs an explanation. So here we studied HTML fonts.